Hey everyone, I know this is surprising for everybody, even myself. I've actually uploaded sooner than a month or 2 months. As you guys know, I called myself out in the last like 2 videos ago, but here I am now. And I know this one's a little bit of a random one. I did one of these videos like 2 years ago, so this is basically my thoughts on Chainsaw Man, the anime. Now this anime was something I was hyped up for, and before I even went into it, I actually read the manga, which the manga I thought was really good. I also want to give a fair warning before anyone sees this that there will be spoilers, because again, I have read the manga, so I will be saying things that are included into that, and I'm not sure if MAPPA plans to put everything from the manga into it, but it may be the thing that drives the anime itself. So just fair warning there. So you can definitely press away now and come back later at a different time when you have more information about the story itself. So Denji is a very interesting character in the manga and both the anime. And it's actually very interesting the way it starts. Basically the way the anime starts is with explaining that Denji actually sold his eye, I believe his arm, and then one of his baby makers, as we'll call it, because you know YouTube loves to be friendly. Thanks, Susan. While we didn't get that in the manga, I thought it was actually an interesting detail to add, so you can really see how desperate Denji is, and it gives you a sense of difference with him, because he's a very interesting character with the fact that he's willing to literally do anything just for a little money or food. And this guy just works, but his story goes deeper than him just being poor and, you know, doing whatever. His father unfortunately passed, but he had a very gigantic debt, and unfortunately that had to be passed down to one of his spouses, being Denji. So now Denji is left behind with all this debt that his dad created, and if I can remember correctly, it was like 100 million, a million, or 100,000 yen. I will check again, probably put it on the screen there so you guys can see it. And my memory's a little foggy because it's been so long since I've actually read the manga, especially the first few of Chainsaw Man. Honestly, to me, the person wasn't really important to me, but who Denji's dad owed the debt to was also the person like, hey, since your dad died, now you have to actually like do the debt for him, because we can't just, you know, put a clean slate on it and say, sorry, we can't accept the debt now. So he's been desperate ever since. And as you see in episode 1, Denji is set off to a task made by the boss. I'm just gonna call him the boss because I can't really remember his name right now. So the boss basically was like, okay, there's devils here and you actually have to go and finish them off. And then we discover that not only is Denji hunting these devils, he has a devil himself, a little dog with a chainsaw near its nose named Pochita. And the way these two met back then was when Pochita was running around, but he barely had any blood to eat, so he was like dying and everything. And then Denji was like, oh, you can feed off of me. And while Pochita is feeding off of Denji's blood, he starts to make a deal with him. And the way it works is that when devils and humans make deals, and they can't break it, because the person who breaks it will die, being the human or the devil. So basically, Pochita is now in this deal. So go on ahead to where I'm talking now. Now these two work side by side just to work and kill all these devils. And it's pretty much straightforward. It's like the manga, you know? But when you watch the anime, it has such a strange atmosphere. Like, it's very somber, unsaturated, very dry. Not in the sense that it's boring. It's more in the sense that its characteristic feels depressing, almost, if you want to say. It's very hollow, empty, because that's Denji's world. This dude is poor. He doesn't have a home. He doesn't know what it's like to have a secure meal every single night or day, or even one of those meals in general. He doesn't know where he's always going to sleep at. He doesn't know when he's going to be able to actually have a full night's rest, because this man owes a debt and he's always working so he can pay it off. But then you watch further in and he defeats the devil, being whatever. Cool. He beat it. So then he gets paid some of the money, and then he starts to count it out. He's like, okay, I had to use this much money for this, I had to use this one for the debt, and he was left with barely any money left at the end of it, because his debt was so big and it was a big crutch for him. And when you see Denji realize that, you see that he's not like sad and crying and all this stuff, because this is normal for him, where he's like, well, maybe I can get a piece of bread or something. He even talks to Pochita about it. He turns to him and he's like, well, I guess it's just bread tonight, buddy. And it's unfortunate, you know, to a viewer like you and I. We're like, wow, that's awful. I couldn't imagine having to be in that situation. But when you watch him, he's just like, well, you know, it's whatever. And then to prove the point that he's so desperate for money, the driver for the boss comes around and he's like, hey, I'll pay you 100 yen or something to eat the cigarette. And he goes, really? And then the driver goes, yeah. And so he eats it. And the driver starts to laugh, because to him it's like, why would he do that? is he really that desperate for money? And so he gives them the money and then he drives off. And then you go back to Denji's quote-unquote home. It's like this mini workshop room where you would keep your equipment. And while laying there with Pochita, he was basically telling him his dream. He's like, I can't wait to sleep on a proper bed, have a wife, maybe have a kid or two. He talks about having meals and just being able to enjoy his life, not sell himself away as he's been doing. And Pochita seems intrigued by it. And I feel like that's kind of showcased in the anime itself. I feel like the anime really hones in on that dream, on that idea, which is good because the whole entire manga is based around what Denji wants, being that dream. And not only does it capture my attention, at least personally, it captures Pochita's, but it's also interesting because Pochita is a devil, mind you, and this devil is interested in the human's dream. That's very strange, because to think a devil would be interested in what a dream is, if anything, they would probably despise it, depending on how you view them. And as Denji tries to go to sleep, he gets another knock. He's like, you got another one to do again. You gotta hunt another devil, from the boss. And so Denji carries on like normal. He's in the car with him because they're driving him to the devil. And once he makes it there, the boss goes, okay, well, you've been a good kid. You've been doing a lot for us. You haven't complained and such. I'm sorry that I have to do this. Then this big devil just comes out of nowhere. I believe it was the zombie devil. He just comes out of nowhere and he's like, well, unfortunately, I can't have you kill all of these devils anymore. So then he tries to attack him with his zombie army. And as they come at him, he's just getting ripped to shreds. He's just trying to run away. And the anime makes it so detailed to him just being ripped apart, being eaten, being sliced, everything. And then we just cut to Denji and Pochita. And Pochita goes, I will save you, but only if you keep telling me about your dream. And as he accepts, he wakes up. But as we see that, we see his limb torn apart. This dude died. Like, he was dead. There was no way he was living, even in an anime. And that's saying a lot, because you guys know, people get injured 1,000 times and they can still get up, but no. Denji in this was dead until Pochita started to revive him. And then he made that deal and he accepted. And then Denji gets up and he has a little like wire thing. And he's like, okay, weird. Then these zombies come back and he doesn't really know what to do. And so as they're coming at him, he just pulls it and starts getting at them because he's so angry that they killed Pochita. And that's displayed because as you watch him kill them, you can see that he's going like crazy, almost as if Pochita is kind of taking over him a little bit as he's going further and further of being this chainsaw man. And then by the end of it, this group of people come around, like this agency of devil hunters. They come in, they're like, oh, our job was done for us. And this was mainly led by a girl named Makima. Now, if you guys read the manga, then you know Makima's, she's very evil, let's say. But she's also, well, you already know. You can already see it. But once he's done, he transforms back to normal, sorta. And then he goes, just hold me. And then he, like, passes out on Makima. So far from what I've seen during this time was the only time the anime goes out of their way is when it's a random scene and they go into the people's backstories at certain points. Now, that's not me saying, like, for example, Aki's story was out of pocket or very random, because that does happen in the manga, but sometimes it just felt very, like, abrupt, like they're trying to delay this one build-up scene that they're trying to make super climactic and intense. I also think it's interesting because of Denji and Power's relationship. Now, when you read the manga, it's very weird because Power tricked Denji into making him want to save a cat to touch her, if you know what I mean. And for some reason, Denji just switched. He was like, oh yeah, this is definitely happening now. How could that sick thing take it? He went, he saved it, killed the bat, and yeah. And as a reward, Power was like, okay, you get to, you know, have 3 squeezes. This is really weird for me to say out loud, so don't think I say this with a lot of comfort, okay? It's just very interesting. And when he did, he didn't look pleased. He looked underwhelmed. And the anime circles around that, of him just feeling like so confused. He's like, I just got what I wanted. You just see him, he's dead, miserable, out of the zone, so confused. He's like, I thought it was supposed to be great. What is happening? I don't feel great or satisfied. What is wrong? Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with that? Was it not going to be as passionate as I thought? Did I overthink it? Was it really not a dream after all? Just like all these questions, and you can see it from his face. And then Makima comes over and is like, well, you probably need to know the person, almost manipulating Denji into wanting her more, listening to her more, because their deal was that he would basically be her pet. Weird, but you know, a guy's got his thing, a girl's got her thing. You know, I'm not one to judge. And it seems very good And as maybe uncomforting as it is to some people, to me it was interesting to see like Makima try to get this personal and close with Denji, and you can see Denji just feeling like so confused. He's like, I'm getting to know this person, I'm getting to feel this person, and then he gets to have the same squeeze for Makima as he did for Power, and he freaks out because he's like, oh wow, that's much better than I remembered. So as silly as it sounds, it's important for Denji to know that, because now he is more motivated than ever. He wants to be with Makima, and that's why he's always so cocky now. But Aki disagrees, and you can tell because he took him in the alleyway and beat him up. He's like, you gotta quit now, because if you don't quit now, you're gonna regret it. And Denji was like, no. You know why? Because I want Makima, and I know Makima wants me, so don't you get in the way of that. And he kicks him and his baby makers. Yeah, it was very funny to see in actual like anime. It was so entertaining. The other thing I like about the anime is that while the whole world feels unsaturated, Denji's still silly at times. He can be a funny character. He's not always serious. He's kind of goofy. And it's just the little things, like when he actually got to have a meal and Makima was there. She was so thrown off. Even for a devil herself, she was like, you really feel that serious about wanting a meal? Or you get that excited? Or having a bed to rest on in the hotel scene? And that's not me making fun of him. That's just me highlighting the fact that this man doesn't know what maybe you and I's normal feels like, and that means a lot to him. But it's really important, the fact that Denji gets to feel important. He feels like he has value, and the fact that he's being taken care of, it means a lot to him. So in a way, it's like a secondary goal for him, to have a normal life, to be able to eat, to be able to sleep like any of us. And maybe people want to focus more on that than his main goal, but it's true. He just wants a normal life like anybody else. He doesn't like to be in debt. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to feel like he's working for somebody else. He wants to be independent. He wants to be his own person. But he grew into this life of depending on other people's money, other people, all this stuff, and he just never felt the freedom, and now he does. So he's trying to fight all these devils that he needs to. And another big motivation for Denji to be doing this is that Makima said, kill the gun devil, you can have whatever you want. And yes, Denji wasn't thinking about having any object, he was thinking about having Makima. Maybe a little more than just having her, if you know what I mean. That's not me trying to make a nasty comment, that's just me being real, and you all know it if you've watched it or read it. But also the chemistry between every character, not only just from Denji with everyone, but Aki with his partner. Power with Aki is also very interesting as well. All these characters are very different and unique in their own way, and they all bring something different to the table, and that's really highlighted during the anime, especially episode 5. When you watch episode 5, they're at the hotel, but for example, this girl, I believe her name was Kobani or Kobani, but you can definitely tell she's horrified. She doesn't do well with devils. But yeah, you can see it in the film itself. She is freaked out, and they were told that if they kill Denji, then they can go free, and she was over the roof about that. She was like, okay, Denji, go. You need to die then. We need to get out of here. And when you watch the episode, you can really see her just get stressed. And Aki's partner literally has to knock her out because she was trying to drink toilet water. Like, people were getting desperate and starting to show their true colors. And this episode really showcases how stressful being a devil hunter really is. And to see that not all of them went in and then came out and were like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna be a devil hunter, really showcases that this is a serious job. This isn't just for fun. Like, this is a serious job that you can't just take for fun and expect no work from it. I know I said a lot, but I also missed a lot. So if you guys want to start a conversation in the comments below, you may do that. Again, I also have a Discord if you're interested in that as well. But basically, my overall thoughts are this. I think Chainsaw Man is building up to the potential that it can have, especially with the ending of episode 5. I just hope that they don't use a lot of dialogue as they kind of did in episode 5. It was very much a drag. So I would say that basically their interactions between Denji and Makima are important. Maybe Aki and Denji as well, because they're trying to help Denji grow as a person, his own person, and just focus more on him than everyone else a little bit. Not saying that they prioritize that, but sometimes I find myself not too interested in everyone else, and I just want to see things happen. Maybe focus more on action as well, and that's what we got when Denji was trying to get Power's cat back. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I think Chainsaw Man is gonna do great. I think it's doing really well so far for what it's going for. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.